Tonight, we're going to talk about how to grow our business essentially, or how to persevere, or how to go through some of the difficulty or challenges, or we experience in our economy. Essentially, we say building, growing, and sustaining your business with resilience and grit. Okay, so those are a lot of words combined there, but essentially, we're just going to narrow it down to how do we ensure that we are able to get going as a business organization, given the challenges that are around or we have with us. Okay, so that's what we are going to be focusing on. Please give me access on the second gadget for sharing. All right, so bear with me. I'm using two gadgets, and so this will help me to get my, yeah, thank you. I think I have it. All right, so we can see it on the screen. So, the pandemic had come and gone, even though we are still suspicious and we are still mindful of the fact that we should not lose our guard 100%. But again, we can't but to say that we have a lot of lessons from that. And that's one of the reasons why the topic of this nature will come handy. So are we going to it, like I said? So I will start by giving an insight into what it is all about we want to look at, and then look at some basic foundation, as it were. And one of the things I said, here is that global disruption and an increasing complex macroeconomy outlook will be key elements of the strategic environment for the foreseeable future. For leaders like us, the only certainty is that waiting for clarity is a losing move. All right? But the best organization know how to turn uncertainty into opportunity. So their playbook relies on two critical elements, and we say a shared and clear view of the world, and then its strategic challenges or opportunities it presents, a resilient and adaptable plan to win. Let me quickly say a very short story. When the pandemic struck, or when it came, quite a lot of people were, it was unprepared. We were all running a task. People were like, what is this? What is that notice? So many predictions, so many assumptions, so many postulations. For some of us that were planning to even travel, because for me, like I would say to people, I said, if I knew, I probably would have even not returned to the country as at the time I returned. If I knew pandemic was going to happen 3 months down the line, I came back to the country and I was planning that I'm going to do another journey about 3 months after, or 4, to go and complete what I started. And then I just suddenly that we are locked down. And then we are trying to find meaning to all of this. But it became, evident that, look, we are in it for a real deal, and everybody should begin to look at clarity. And so a lot of people, business really were confused. And for us, for my own kind of a business we do, we begin to look at what is the next way forward. How do we then strategically position ourselves, and also seize the moment, seize the opportunity that come with the challenges. And that's what some of the things we are able to do for ourselves. And a number of organizations were able to optimize, also be able to see what they can do. So today, we say today's global disruption around geopolitical tension, supply chain bottleneck, and economic headwinds, soaring inflation, rising interest rate, decelerating growth, and currency fluctuations have created a complex, once-in-a-generation competitive environment with significant variation across geographical area and sector. All of these disruptions in fact, it looks like we are still going to be in it for a few years, because the stability is not yet assured. And unfortunately, while the pandemic seems to be winding down, then we have some other form of disruptions, and that is a lot of geopolitical tensions across the globe are different, location, different origin. And, before now, it appears that when things happen as part of the world, you look at, maybe we are fortified, for instance, the Russia-Ukraine war, you can say, oh, Africa can be fortified, or Nigeria can be fortified, but it's no longer that way because the world has become a global village. So what it means is that even if anything happens in Nigeria right now, you can imagine the implication. I mean, just yesterday or today, I saw a video, and probably many of us will have seen it, seeing the American embassy shut down in Abuja, and they were running to the airport, trying to take a leave, all because there was a perceived tension, a perceived terrorism act. So you can imagine the world has become a global village. All right. So things happen. And that is why navigating this sophisticated complex requires business leaders to develop what we call a dynamic perspective, not only on the most likely scenario for how their operating and economic environment will evolve, but also on the distinct opportunities and risks this scenario presents for their organization. So research shows really the winner in economic uncertainty do not just sit back, wait for recovery. Instead, they are proactive and turn ambiguity into opportunity. So that's one of the things I want us to look at tonight. How do we turn the ambiguity into opportunity? Because, like I said earlier, when this pandemic came, people with different, postulation, different stories. And it was like the world is even coming to an end. It was like maybe we should just not do anything again. But in between, people go back to the drawing table. A lot of organizations, business go back and like, what else can we do? What do we need to do? All right. So these are the things that we need to do, because there will always be that naughty situation. There will always be that naughty circumstances that we will find ourselves as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as organizations. So how do we make complex things simplified? How do we bring some level of flexibility around our complex or ambiguous ideas? And those are the things. So we say a play to win. There's no one size fits all. And that's one other thing I want us to know tonight. Whatever we are discussing tonight is just going to be what we can do, strategy, approach, tactics we can deploy. But again, like I always say, when we do strategy session, we can share all of the strategy. But when we come to implementation, we must be able to adapt it to your own specific circumstances. All right, because what affects each of us based on our sector will be very different from what it is for other organizations. So we must be able to streamline the context. We must be able to tailor it to our own need. But however, all of the things we are discussing and we are going to share are relevant and are also adaptable and workable with any scenario possible. All right. So I said, solution to today's complex strategy challenges, but research suggests that the best company do two things well in crafting their unique plan to win. All right. And what are those two things? Number one, they have a clear understanding of their strategic starting point. Okay. Because you see, when things happen, an average organization have what we call the vision. Okay. They have their strategic plan. They have your direction. But when you have some unprecedented economic turmoil or turbulence, then you begin to look at what is our vision and how do we also be able to walk through our vision in aligning to reality. Okay, because reality will be done on us such that even the vision, if care is not taken, will become confusion. All right. So at that point, we need to look at the strategic starting point that takes into account nuance and the average perspectives on the economy and operational stability of the market in which they operate. Because again, like I said earlier, we all operate in the large market, global market, but we serve different parts of the market. Okay, so what we work for you will not work for certain organization. And we also know we have manufacturing, different sectors. So we need to be able to look at our peculiarity as to how we can be able to look at what it is at the economy and the operational stability that we can work through our own market. So secondly, I said that they need to they embedded a dynamic strategy, okay? A dynamic strategy mindset into your planning, comprising three elements. And those are one, sensing. So you have to observe the trend, define and monitor critical uncertainty, outlining a set of scenarios against which to assess your business decisions. Now, for instance, let's move forward a little bit from the pandemic. Now, the second pandemic we have now is the Europe challenges. I mean, let's say the war, the Ukraine-Russian war. And look at how, while we are trying to settle down or settle out of the pandemic, look at how that has affected almost everybody. And because why? Now, that shows that there's no part of the world that really that is not important. And it also shows that there's no continent really that is self-sufficient in itself. Okay, so you now begin to see that, look, then you need to observe certain trends. Okay, so when there are wars in certain locations, especially when the part of that or countries or part of the world where the war happens are such that some of the economic or economic inputs, materials are generated from. You can see the effect on other. The way it works really is that for every country, there are the area of what I would call their in terms of their economic strength. Okay, there are things that come from those parts of the countries that are beneficial to other parts. And suppose that we have, for instance, we have a particular three countries that produce certain materials. Okay, so the shortfall at one, you can see the implication on the general or global, village or global the global trend to it. So you have to be sensitive. You have to apply some level of sensing to like what is happening, and then how do you interpret that to your decision making, and then how do you also adapt? You're adapting. Building operational and financial stability by shaping and reshaping strategy. All right, based on market trend and data-driven forecast is also very important. And then thriving, moving rapidly from assessment to action. All right, so that you can seize growth opportunity and strengthen competitive advantage. The fact is that if for us as a business organization, we are unable to, to streamline or walk through these three, elements, then we might not be able to seize the moment or take advantage when it happens. So we say the global disruption of macroeconomic headwinds, one, the uncertain recession outlook, that has caused a lot of recession in almost every economy of the nation. And those economies that are not even well standing, that are not well grounded, like our country, you can see how it has really affected us. Because for us, we seem to not be able to work very well with trends. Okay, we are not able to really have our model rightly, situated. So, and because of that, the backlash from other economy always affect us by implication. All right. So again, we say the rising rate, interest. And you can see what has happened to our the central bank monthly economy indices and what have you. How we have moved up, moved down, moved up. At the point, a lot of instability in the macroeconomic decisions, and this is affecting us a lot. And that's why you see the challenges as to the inflations, right? The inflation, especially in our own end here. So because of these global disruptions, and then how then do we begin to look at this and streamline some of these things? So let's look at some of the global disruptions that we have experienced or we are experiencing. We talk about the geopolitical tension, all right? The war are happening different looking. Even for us as a country, Nigeria, our own domestic challenge, terrorism, our challenges are also there, and we are experiencing and facing that, on its own. So that is also there for us to battle with and to comprehend with. And then we also have the supply chain bottleneck. Look at what's happening in Ukraine, what's happening, in Ukraine and Russia. Look at the challenges of at a point that the international community, United Nations, has to intervene to see how they can have a mediation as to be able to allow them to have passage, as some of the sea, because of some of the items and materials that some of the other countries or other nations are dependent. You can see that implication. So that's also another challenge with supply chain. Some of the the bottleneck that are there across the sea and all of those things. And then you also see the tech disruption. The technology is taking its toll and it's advancing. And that is the reality. The technology also, has become a major disruptor in all of the corner of the economy, which is also very well, it's a good thing. I mean, of course, but how then can we be able to quickly optimize our business to leverage or take advantage of that? Then the consumer behavior too is a lot of shift in way and pattern on how way people want things. And the people challenge themselves. All right. We talk about the talent and the critical source of advantage. Look at the Japan model of Nigeria. Because of the bad economy, because of the challenge we face, a lot of people are trying to relocate. Tonight, as we are speaking here, we don't know who those of us that are already on our way to the airport, and we don't know those are planning to do tomorrow, because we are just facing that challenge. And then the climate change too. Of course, look at what has affected us in our country here, the flood. A lot of people are homeless now. A lot of states are going through a lot of difficulties, and there's no way it will not affect us, because this thing have a way to connect. Look at what happened in Kogi as regards the flood. What I mean is that some of the material, some of the food produce that will cross those parts of the country to get to either west or south could not. Some of the perishable items there got spoiled. People died. So look at those challenges, the climate change, and all of us contribute to it, because when we are not able to do things right at our own end as a business organization, and that is why the emphasis on green, economy, the ESG, the SDG, the reason why some of us need to begin to align the sustainability aspect of it, because some of our businesses too are contributing to some of these challenges of climate change, and very, very important. Then when we look at the other part of it, and we look at the macroeconomic headwinds of it, we see the soaring inflation, we see rising interest rate, and the uncertainty, and the uncertain recession outlook. These are challenges that has formed all of uncertainty around the businesses. And then we move forward to look at, if you also look at the chart you have here, look at the top performance in the economy uncertainty. Do not wait, all right? We say that the top performance in the economic uncertainty do not wait for recovery. Instead, they build competitive advantage and turn ambiguity into a source of opportunity. So what we are saying here is that with all of these challenges, a lot of people are still making money. Organizations are still making a lot of returns. What are they doing differently? And that is why for us too, as a business people, we need to begin to engage ourselves and begin to look at how we think. How do we maximize the opportunity? Because if you complain from today to tomorrow, the challenges are there. But how do you see the opportunity? How do you see those advantage? How do you reorganize and then reorder your own priority as a business? And those are things we want to do. So let's quickly move on to move forward a bit and say, when we say resilience, and then what are we talking about as business owner? Now, I want us to, in our perspective, to drop in the chat room, what it is, what does that connote to you? But I say here, for a business owner like you, that unwavering dedication to serving your customer, being there for your community, all right, especially in aspect of job creation, contribution to the economy, and staying hopeful during difficult time is a priority. So if we say for the customer, it is probably, and it's called business resilience. So for us, what does it define, or what does it say to us when we talk about the business resilience? Let's move forward for that a little. Yeah, I say that I say there's what we call business resilience, and there's what we call business continuity. So I'll try to balance to or explain the two. And I say that business resilience and business continuity planning are connected terms, but there are a few key differences. So let me make a little clarification around that. I say a business continuity plan spells out how you will run your business, all right, during an unplanned event like the pandemic. And it is usually created before the event strike, all right? So as a way to help your business with risk management, the plan typically details the potential short and long-term threat that could impact your business organization and long-term. Now, when you look at business continuity, which is normally, whether there's pandemic or not, you should be able to have set up your framework, your plan as to how the business itself will continue. Because a lot of things that can bring a lot of challenges as to why the business cannot continue. All right. And that's some of the things you must be able to have built into the business, regardless of whether there will be pandemic or there will be an impromptu challenge. Because that can the inability for the business to continue can happen from different points and from different angles. But what we are saying here is that there should be that yardstick, there should be that framework you will have established for the continuity of your business. For small business, for instance, we say that the death of the proprietor or the death of the owner of the business sometimes cause a lot of, the make the business not be continuing, all right, bring a lot of incontinuity to the business. So those are some of the things we need to look at, and then we look at how we can build. And when we want to build resilience, we now talk about a skill that leads to tangible results, particularly for small business owner. That resilience can lead you to create a business continuity plan, okay, which outline the recovery strategy for your business need to overcome unexpected. So your resilience comes from the things the model or the things you are able to put into that your plan. That suppose this happen, A happen, then what is our B? Well, suppose B happen, what is our C? What are the alternatives that we have, all right, to be able to overcome and be able to face some of these challenges? All right, we move forward. So I said that, look, developing your business resilience, all right, we said, so how do you develop your own business, whether in form of business continuity plan or something else? So these days, business resilience plan can look like a different thing, all right? I hope you're still there. Okay, so can look like changing. Hello, I hope I'm still online. Look like
Yes, you are. You may go ahead, sir.
Okay, all right. Don't sure because I think one of the systems seems to appear. Okay, so pardon me. So I said changing what your business does, okay, is one of the strategy or one of the things you need to begin to look at when you're building your business resilience. The other part is changing the tools that you use. Okay, so and then the other one I said, look, rethinking the way customer buy from you. And then the last part I said, revisiting your definition of success or achievement in terms of your business goals. For instance, when I talk about changing what your business do, now, I mean, imagine when the pandemic came. For those that could not think out of the box on time, they seem to be completely out of business because almost everything was cut off. Aside for those that are heavily dependent on importations, it then means that raw material cannot come and then they cannot produce. But I always say something to businesses. As the business takes its shape and get growing, we need to begin to look at some of the value chain that we can create from what we do right now. Okay, so some of those raw material that you source, are there some of them that you can also begin to see how you can begin to also invest on and begin to produce so that you can supply or service your own production and then be able to service some other people. So some of those things we need to begin to rethink and see what are the possibilities. But let's move forward and then we'll get more clarity through in the next few slides. I'll soon be wrapping up anyway. So, but I say understanding resilience. To build and maintain resilience in your business, you need to, you must minimize the downside, all right, while maintaining the ability to act on opportunities that may present themselves to your business. Now, Nigeria, as it were, our population still remain an advantage for us, okay? And that's why you see that an average air flight that comes to this country, most time you see that 70% of the occupants are foreigners because they still see that there are a lot of opportunity here. So your business, so you're building your business resilience. You look at different aspects of your business, which has to do with your finance, your operation, your strategy, and other elements of the business. Let's look at this, and let's look at what I have there on the screen. I say the culture, how you do things, your leadership model or style, right? Your change and the discipline has to also be looked at. Some of these things has to be reorganized, remodeled to fit into reality. Okay, because if you are just thick and become complex as you feel that this is how we have been doing it, and then we've been getting results. The truth is that what has gotten you these results so far, of course, may not be able to move you forward. So, and things are changing so fast. Things are changing so fast. So that adaptability, that flexibility, you need to begin to introduce it to your business and be able to see how you can take advantage of the change. So when we look at culture, what are we trying to emphasize? So the personality of your organization. Culture is some of all the belief and behavior at every level of the organization that shape your company strategy and action. Your culture is like your company's personality, and it can be a help or hindrance to your success. So start by revisiting the pillar of your culture, your mission, your value, your vision. Like I said earlier, some of these things have to be revisited and remodeled to fit into the reality. Okay, you can't say that's how we have started and then nothing changes. Things have to change. Validate or revise these three pillars on the current economy realities. Okay, because flexibility has to come. You have to factor into the reality of what is happening now. I mean, we say Gen Z, we say millennials, all those things. There are ways that you need to begin to rethink and fine tune your business to be able to align with this one. Let me go to the next one because of time, and I talk about leadership. Okay, so we say leadership led with empathy and awareness. Okay, so culture and leadership are inextricably bound together. So pay close attention to leadership at all levels of the organization. All right, culture is affected by the line manager as much as the executive. Your company culture plays an important role in your business growth and business resilience. So this is very important. Your leadership style, your leadership approach, you must be able to be more conscious as to your succession plan. Okay, you can be, yeah, especially why we feel like some people have, how do we put it now? Like we say that you can wait for your time. As a business organization, you must be able to think ahead and see how you can be able to give, create that path to growth for an average employee of the organization. Create that path for leadership. Let people be able to have assurance and have some confidence that they can be able to grow their career here. They'll be able to see the opportunity that exists here. Otherwise, your competition are also looking for their best and they will poach them when they see that. I mean, when your employees or your team members are willing to move when they see that they can't see the future in your organization. The next one that I'm going to talk about here is change. All right, like I said, what is constant right now is change. So access to what needs to change and how fast. Before you can enact positive change, you must determine exactly what change is needed in your business and how far you need to accomplish that change. So that is also very important. We see quite a number of businesses that feel like they've not fully embraced technology and they feel technology is just is an option. It's not an option. All right, we must be able to begin to think and look at how you can leverage on technology. And technology itself is even changed so fast. Things are moving so fast around the globe that you begin to look at how, if you don't even move as fast as expected, you also be left behind. And all the things that are crumbling around the economy will just collapse on your own business. And at the end of the day, you will be out of business. Let's look at this, some of this technique and see how we can leverage on it. I say here, they are logical and tactical. Be aware of the key levers available to effect the change you want. Okay, some examples include increased revenue due to an improved customer retention program or increased employee retention thanks to a stronger employee incentive program. Okay, so these are some of the things you need to look at. Your manpower are as important as to your general operation or what you do as a business. So, and like I said earlier, you have competitions or competitors that are also looking at how they can take advantage if you are not going to do what you think is right. And that is very important for you. The next one in that column says that they are well planned out. Map out a clear and understandable plan with logical milestone and meaningful metrics. If not, jointly developed by you and your employee, make sure your milestones are feasible and accessible so you will not get buy-in across the organization. So, one of the things we are saying is that you have to involve your team. You have to also be able to engage your team member, make them to be a part of the business. Let them be able to let them contribute. Let there be a thorough engagement across all levels and cadres. Okay, I want to move to the next one. My slide will be available for us so we can look at some of other change elements that I've also shared here. And the last one I want to talk about here is discipline. A relentless focus on execution. Discipline has two faces. A relentless focus and pursuit of your goal, but also unwavering attention to the tools, processes, financial resources that protect your business from threats and challenges. I want you to pay attention to what we say, the tools, the process, and financial resources. When we talk about the tools, we are looking at some of the things that enhance performance of your operations. that make the operation be seamless. So there might be some point where you begin to introduce some, things again are changing, that some of the tools some of organizations use or businesses use, not that they are outdated, but they are more, expensive to even maintain, and they are more cost center than what is now in vogue. And one other thing that also happens is that the manpower too are also not, knowledgeable enough. So that's now brings us to a place of having to be able to also introduce some level of training, manpower development to our organization, and then make sure that we have a process, right? A process that work, and we continue to revitalize those processes, because as organization move, as things happen, as the uncertainty take its shape, of course, some of the processes, we need to be rejigged, and that's very important again, and we must be able to pay attention to that. So let's move to the last part of this discussion. And I said, how do you measuring your grit for improvement? So what is grit in itself? And I said that passion and perseverance for every long-term goal. Grit is having stamina. So so how do you bring some strong, foundational structure that enables some stability in your business? And that's what we are talking about when we look at grit. So we say grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make the future a reality. So grit is living life like a marathon, not a sprint. So what we are saying here is that, look, aside all there will always be change, there will always be uncertainty, but how do you begin to fortify your processes, fortify your vision, fortify your ideas, fortify the business, so that when such things happen, when those uncertainties happen, you can still remain in the business? And I've given to try to highlight some of the things you need to do to help you, get some form of stability in your business. And one of them, I said, develop your skill. All right, not just as the owner, not just as an employee, but the entire organization. You must be able to see what can improve skill, because when people know more, when you get to have more information, then you can be able to do better, and that will help the growth and stability of the organization. Then overcome challenges. So how do we do things differently to be able to overcome some of the things that are challenging? So we must be able to know how we can do, things differently. And I say apply effort. Those with a growth mindset know hard work and effort will give the best chance to success. So fixed mindset people tend to believe their skill and will seem through without too much effort. So we all need to have a concerted effort towards moving the organization forward. And then again, is listen to feedback. We must be able to have a medium on approach where we be taking information. We gather what we call the market intelligence, both from every stakeholder, both from staff, from customers, from partners. We need to be able to see how we can get access to feedback, what is happening, and what are the people saying about our services, our business, and we need to do that. And then use setbacks. All right. So we need to take those things that are pitfall, that are setback, right, and be able to turn them around to make us stronger and take them as our advantage to get us stronger. So in conclusion, I'm saying that, look, in all you do as a business, keep it in mind that the world is still a very uncertain place. So you need to be prepared to succeed, whether the wind is at your back or in your front. Use the 4 core elements of culture, leadership, change, and discipline to map your business to growth and business resilience to move forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is much I can share with you tonight, but I assure you that when you look at all of these elements that we have also looked at tonight, you see that it has a lot to do with the entire organization. And if we can be able to map them out based on the need and adapt them to our peculiarity, I think we can get ahead. So I would say thank you for your time, and we can take a question and then see how we can interact. Thank you so much.
Well, Dr. Ayodid, that was really, really an awesome one. At some point, I was going to say we should give you a round of applause, but I know that's not possible right now. And yes, I think for me, really, the take home for me is basically in your conclusion, and we still draw back to when you began the conversation, where you said every setback is a setup for comeback, and that the best organization knows how to turn uncertainty into opportunity. Thank you so much for this insight, because this is not just a presentation. I mean, you have really taught us quite a lot here. I'm going to keep the floor open for questions so that Dr. Ayoade can answer our questions. I have a question in the chat box now, but please also note that you're free to use the raise hand option if you would like to speak directly. But there is a question in the chat box that I will want to take now. And this person is saying, nice presentation, sir. Can you kindly talk about diversification in business?
Okay, all right. I actually thought a little bit on it, but I think maybe I should do more. You know,
Okay,
at the point I mentioned that part of the organization failed to do, you know, as part of preparing or buffer for resilience and uncertainties, the fact that we are too concentrated on what we do, and we don't seem to look at opportunity. For instance, let me take, if you are into either bottled water production or pure water production, for instance. You know, I once have a client that I said, I told them, look, some of the material that are inputs to your production, why don't you begin to plan how that you also can be able to, you know, begin to manufacture them so that you can service your own production line and then also supply other people. So that will look like a diversification, but actually it's not complete diversification. So for every business, there's a value chain. There's a value chain opportunity, all right, that we need to explore. Now you can start with your core idea or your core business focus, but begin to look around that your business. There are other opportunities that you may also be able to establish, all right, and which you can be able to leverage on, and that may look like diversification. But maybe the diversification you are talking about is completely varying away from what you are doing, which is possible. But what is important is that you must do your due diligence, all right? You don't just want to say, okay, I make money here or I'm making money here, and the bit to diversify, you do not do enough or gather enough information. And remember, I said, do your market intelligence. Be sure that what you want to do, you are not doing because you have resources, but you are doing because there's a need for it. And like I always say to people or to organizations, I say, look, as much as you solve problem, then you'll be able to make more money. The day you realize that you're not solving any problem again, then you begin to pack up. So your diversification should be based on what other problem do you want to solve, right? Does that problem we want to solve have anything to do with our existing vision? If it is not, do we have mastery of that particular diversification? Do we have enough information? Do we have expertise? Like I remember I once worked in an organization where my MD, you know, we are into capital market, all right, and we do stocks. And my MD wants to go into real estate, which is not bad, which is not a bad idea, natural, because it's still an investment, and we are into investment services. But unfortunately, he doesn't have enough information about it. And some of us that are top management were not carried along. I mean, a property that people are buying 200, and he was buying, because there's money, he was buying 500. So you know, from the word go, you're already running loss. Well, at the end of the day, how much are you going to sell it? People that bought their own 200 will sell 500. You already buying 500. How much will you sell it? So these are the things we must do as business people. We must do our due diligence and be sure that we are not diversifying because we have resources, but we are diversifying based on the fact that there's still more problems to be solved. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that response, sir. So I think somebody, Elizabeth Oladepo, is raising her hand. You may please speak, madam.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for the insightful session. I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of it. First of all, I would like to say congratulations on your award for Global Mentor of the Year. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you so much.
And my question, talking about resilience in entrepreneurship, how can we as growing entrepreneurs keep abreast of changing technologies in times? Like what I mean these times, I'm talking about economic meltdown, everything going upside down. How can we still stay relevant while also maintaining the community that we are building, the impact we are making without, going against business ethics or sort? How can we stay abreast of that?
Okay, so thank you so much for the compliment and appreciation. But what I would say is this. You see, we already know, I mean, we are conscious of the fact that we are in a dynamic environment. In fact, the usual business world will be vulgar world, right? And I said earlier that we must be able to see how we can make the ambiguity around the business, to be simplified. Okay, so if you have been operating in a particular model or using a particular model to operate, you must be able to continuously think, how can we simplify our process? How can we simplify our operations? How else? Is there any other way around any other way that we can exploit to serve our customers better? You know why? When you don't look at those possibilities, some other businesses are looking at it. And that's some of the things some other businesses take as an advantage. While you are still lagging behind, some other people are able to do that and they've been taking advantage. So technology has come to bear, and it's also like a pivot to taking advantage of how else we can solve problems. The same technology you as a business owner is exposed to, your customer is exposed to it. And so they are like, okay, I was saying to people, in financial circle, I've had people saying that Nigerian banking system, especially our technology, our fintech, is about the best in the world. But I said to people that each time I visit some other countries, somebody say you want to transfer money to me, say, give me your email. And then before I know it, the money is with me. And I said, but I can't tell you to give me your email in Nigeria and I will transfer money to you. It doesn't work. Now, somebody said that still in our system we have it, but it has not been activated. So why do you not tell me that our fintech, whatever, is better than the other nations? Okay, so for me, it's not a problem, but that's still part of the future we are going to get to. Now, some places they will tell you, give me your phone number, and then they transfer money to you. Right now, we don't do that in our environment here. So it means that if it's going to happen, for you as a business person, you should be positioned that by the time it's going to happen, you are not already you're not lacking behind. You are also positioning yourself. What are the things that will make it happen? So technology makes the business world simplify, make it smoother, make it faster. So you need to look at along your own business operations. Okay, so what are the technology that like I tell people, I say, I just imagine that I would just sit in my living room, I'll just speak to my TV and say, hey, go to channel 200. And I know there are it's happening now. So you can just think, what are the things, what else can I do around my business that make it, unique and different? All right. So that's one of the things you need to do. So you must be able to engage yourself as a business owner around your very business and look at models that you can involve, approaches that you can do, what else you can leverage on, how else can you do it differently from the norms. You should break the tradition. You should not be coerced or be put into one corner and have to do it the way other people do it. So you would think around the business, think about how else do you think the customers you can make the customers be satisfied. So I think with that, then you can then see what are the technology that exists that you can leverage on. If it does not exist, can you then begin to tell somebody to write those kind of operational things for you or system for you, and then see whether you can be the first to even go to market with that innovations. All right. I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Thank you.
Next person. You will.
All right, please. Let's have Mr. Izuchukwu. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Ayoade. Mr. Izuchukwu, you may please ask your question now.
Okay, sir. Thanks so much. So much appreciate the way you are attending to our questions. But please, I'm still having two outstanding questions. Number one is for upcoming entrepreneurs. One of the challenges we are having is the issue of tutors. Can you please highlight or show more light on how we can manage competitors? That is one. Then number two, the issue of consultants. Most SMEs, they find it difficult embracing advice or professional advice from the consultant. What is your advice to some of us that is upcoming? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. So the first one is competition. Competition will always be there. It's what makes the business environment interesting. But one thing you must know is that, like I said earlier, you must be very innovative and creative about your own operation, business, or services. You don't want to wait till the competition till they take a step before you take two steps. You can take 2-3 steps. The business environment is competitive, and everybody is competing for the attention of one customer. And the customer also have a way they want it to be done, or they want to be served, or they want their service to be done. So you can then begin to think ahead, all right? Why you know that the competition are there. The second part to that is that if you are, I mean, maybe you are in, it's a kind of a business that your competition are driven by your, financial, let me say, the investment, and you don't have capacity. Because, for instance, if I take, like I say to people, the budget for adverts of Coca-Cola is still more than some state budget in Nigeria. So you can then imagine that if Biggie was going to go on head-on confrontation with Coca-Cola in terms of advert budget, you know that they won't be able to afford it. So what are the approach, or what is the strategy Biggie Cola is using? So they went the grassroots. They have to carve a niche, and then they decide to take it one at a step. So those are the things you have to look at. So if you cannot measure up with your competitors, which you are not even, should be not even build your own headache, carve a niche for yourself. Make sure that niche you have carved for yourself, you are able to do things differently and do it such a way that you're able to sell yourself and gain a good control of that your space, and that can give you a bit of advantage. And then when you come to consultant, I'm also a consultant. You know, you can't, like they will say, you can take the horse to the river, but you can't force the horse to take water. But more importantly, if your services or your advices are soundproof, all right, and well tested, I think you could be able to prove beyond that to your client, you know, why did you follow your advice. But more importantly, your client will say they are the one paying the bills, and they will sometimes assume, but you can't kill yourself, neither can you frustrate yourself. You are an advisor, and if they pay your service, they pay for your service, and you give them advice, you don't take it, then you move on to another client and continue to make your money. But the fact is that you can always try to how do I put it? Assure, give some level of assurance, because that's the fear is, you know, an average business will not want to take a risk because they are not too sure what it's going to be. So they want to take calculated risk. So for you as a consultant, you must be able to also give assurance. You know, if I tell you as a consultant, look, if I give you this solution, use it. If it does not achieve the result, then I will return your money. How many consultants can say that? So these are the things that everybody wants to balance out. But again, like I said, you can only give your solution. If they don't oblige or abide by it, then you can't kill yourself. You have to still move on. All right. Thank you.
All right, sir. Okay, thank you so much for the response. Do we have any more questions? Although somebody here is asking if we can get the slides. Is that possible, sir?
Yes, you get the slide. The MSME, we pay for the slide on behalf of you. You get the slide.
All right, sir. So I'm waiting if there are more questions. Does any other person have questions so that we can move on and wrap up for the night? Okay. If there are no more questions, I believe there are no more questions at this time, then I think it's a good time to say a very big thank you to you, Dr. Ayo Adeyemi. It was nice listening to your presentation. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you too.
And I'm also saying big congratulations to you on your award.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone.
Thank you so much.
Grateful to everyone. Thank you.
So with that session done, we will be moving on to the next thing. We'll be taking some few announcements, which will be handled by Mercy. Mercy, kindly come up and give us the announcements that we have from MSME Africa. Thank you.
All right, Aramide, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Adeyemi, thank you so much for that awesome session. We really learned a lot and we're grateful for your time. So very quickly to everyone on the call, you may please watch a replay of this session if there is any parts that you missed out on, especially with the network each. you might please go to our YouTube channel to watch, and not just watch, please would like you to subscribe. Dropping the link in the chat box for you to subscribe if you haven't done so. And if you're not yet a member of our community, you might want to do that as well. So I will drop the link as well in the chat box for you to join our community. And yes, we have a big news coming, and that is MSME Dialogue. So if you are very conversant with MSME Africa, you know that we always have this very big MSME dialogue, which is actually the biggest MSME dialogue that you can have, around. So this year, we're going to have another one coming up, let's say by December. So please watch out for all our communications, watch out for our flyers, our banners. And when we call on you, please support us. We really appreciate your support so far. So I just dropped the link to join the community here for everyone who is not yet a member of the community. And so that being said, from everyone at MSME Africa, most especially from Mr. Sheyed, we're saying a big thank you to everyone on the call tonight. Dr. Adeyemi has promised to share his slides also. You can trust us to send that to catch a replay. Our YouTube channel is there for you. We have our weekly KSS on the community, as well as our live chat. So we have a whole lot for you coming up planned. So please stay with us, stick around, and we get better together. So that is it from us tonight. Aramide, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mercy, for the announcement. So I don't know if Mr. Sheye is back back here in the meeting. Mercy, can you confirm, please? Mercy, did you hear me?
Yes.
Can you confirm if Mr. Sheye is here?
No, he's not.
Okay, so I guess you could just go ahead with the closing remarks on his behalf.
All right. So once again, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been a part of this evening's session. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your support so far. Also, I have a hand up. I don't know what Raphael will want to say. Or was that a mistake?
You can go ahead, Mercy.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to confirm if Raphael wanted to say something, or probably that was a mistake. But regardless, thank you, everyone. Do have a pleasant weekend ahead and enjoy your night rest.
All right. Thank you, Mercy. Thank you to our guest speaker. Thank you to all the attendees. Thank you for joining us again. We love you. See you next time. Bye.
Mm-hmm.